So finally, the long-awaited Go 3S, now with 4K resolution, 2.7K slow motion, and a quick transfer to a micro SD card with this adapter right here. This is the new quick reader for the Go 3S and the Go 3, and this is something I've been using a lot on a previous trip to Cyprus, and this is game-changing. And we also have the ability to link the Go 3S now to Apple's Find My, so in case you lose it, you can use the GPS to get the direction back to the Go 3S, and when you're close, you can just beat the sound. So let's take a look at what's new, who I think this is for, and how I've been using it over the past few weeks. This video is also sponsored by Insta360, so it will be more of a showcase video and not a review. So in the box you'll get the Go 3S itself, the action pod, a magnetic pendant, a head clip, a pivot stand, and some paper. Basically everything you need to get started. The weight of the Go 3S is about 39 grams and it is about the same size as the Go 3, which means you can use the same accessories both ways. We also have a larger lens now with an improved lens guard, which makes it easier to unscrew and replace. Now, the Go 3 is priced at $400 for the 64GB version and $430 for the 128GB version. So personally, I would always go with the highest, simply because it gives you more record time, so you don't have to dump the files that often. As of resolution, we now have 4K up to 30 FPS and 2.7K up to 100 FPS and 1080p super slow motion up to 200 FPS. And as of shooting modes, we have normal mode, free frame video, time lapse, time shift, slow motion, loop recording, star lapse, interval photos, HDR photos, and normal photos. So here we have something for everyone. Now, when it comes to features, we do have some pretty neat features actually. So if we look at the main screen here, we have this new tilt fix on the left here, and what this does is to add that subtle horizon leveling to your videos to correct or to basically level out the image if you have a small misplacement. And it's actually doing this by using adaptive cropping, which will zoom in a little bit when you are, just to maintain that horizon level. Now on the other side we have jitter blur reduction, which basically reduces minor shakes and flickers when shooting in low light. So here's how it looks with this turned on and off. Now when it comes to low light, the footage actually looks pretty decent compared to the Go 3, and there's more room for adjustments it seems, because the footage comes out brighter. But for the best possible low light video, it's always better to use manual settings. Some other new features added to the Go 3S is also gesture control, interval video, level indicator, and kids mode. So for gesture control, you can stop and start recording a video by showing your hand, or you can take a photo by showing a peace sign. Now, as for interval video, this will automatically power on your camera and then start record and then power off again and then on again and so on. So pretty similar to timed capture, but the difference here is that it records more than one clip, and then you can later put that into a sequence to make a video, a highlighted video of the entire day if you prefer to do that. So when you enable the level indicator, you'll see this white and green line across the screen here. When this is turning green, it basically means that the camera or the angle of the camera is perfectly level. So this is a nice little feature to have if you need those extra, or you need those shots which is perfectly level. Now as for kids mode, this basically turns off all the lights, the sound, and disables the Go 3S button, which is on the unit itself here. So not the action pod, but the Go 3 itself, basically to prevent your kids or anyone to accidentally turn on or off the recordings. Now, the next one is settings, and this is where you find everything from button settings to bitrate. And yeah, bitrate, by the way, I recommend to set that to high, which is giving the best possible image that you can get from the Go 3S. And we also have the new Apple Find My feature. So to set this up, you just tap start pairing on the Go 3S and then go over to your iPhone and then open the Find My app and then select the item icon on the bottom here. Then you select the plus icon on the top right corner and then choose add other item. Then tap connect, change the name to whatever name you like, and then add your favorite emoji, tap continue, and you're now done. And now you can go back into the Find My app and see where your Go 3S is located, and if you're close, you can now tap the play sound button and the camera will start beeping. Now we also have some other features which is new to the Go 3S. We have a cancel record now, which we had with the Ace Pro or have with the Ace Pro. This basically, if you're shooting a video and you don't want to have that video, you just long press on the shutter button and it will automatically cancel the recording and then delete the video. And we also have the 2x zoom now, which is also something coming from the Ace Pro. So if you want to punch in a little bit closer to the subject or object, you have this 2x zoom option on the display when you're recording a video. And we also have a new quick file transfer now, which will automatically send the files directly over to your phone. Now, in terms of app upgrades, the Go 3S does now have dynamic time lapses and motion ND when you edit your videos through the Insta360 mobile app. And as of export, we have Dolby Vision or HDR export, which preserves more colors and a higher dynamic range. And this is also the best way of exporting low light clips from the Go 3S. And I also want to say that the X4. So if you're shooting low light videos, this is by far the best way of exporting low light footage with the X4 and the Go 3S. Now we also have a new lens type on the Go 3S here compared to the Go 3, which is a mega view, and this was something that was introduced to the X4 and something I've been using a lot on the X4 as well. So I'm really glad they added this to the Go 3S. And what this basically does is to give you a wider field of view with less distortion at the edges. Now, one of the things that really impressed me with the Go 3 was battery life. So Insta360 states that the Go 3S can record for 38 minutes in 1080p 30 FPS in a controlled environment and 140 minutes with the Action Pod. So I did the same test here in the studio to see how long I could record for, but of course I used 4K 30 because that's the settings that I'm using. And with the Go 3S alone, I was able to record for 32 minutes before it ran out of battery. And putting this inside the Action Pod, I was able to record for 132 minutes before it ran out of battery, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. When it comes to compatibility, the Go 3S is not compatible with the DJI Mic 2 or any other Bluetooth microphones. So the only workaround here would be to start recording on both devices and then either clap or snap your fingers and then sync it up later in post. So I guess it's pros and cons both ways depending on what you're used to basically. But one of the biggest upgrades along with 4K resolution is that the Go 3S itself now is waterproof down to 10 meters or 33 feet, which means that you can go deeper without thinking too much about depth, which is fantastic. We also have a higher bitrate now, so 120 megabits per second over the previous 80 megabits on the Go 3, which is fantastic, and this basically provides a better overall image. So here's a few comparison clips with the Go 3 and the Go 3S. Now, when it comes to the included accessories, the head clip is by far my most used accessory, and it allows me to capture everything with minimal effort basically. And I can also use this with the magnetic pendant to make sure that I get the angle right. Even though it makes it a little bit bulkier, I think this is the best way of using it. But we do have some new accessories which you might like. This is the quick reader, the new quick reader, and this is compatible with the Go 3 and the Go 3S. So on the back side here we have a Lightning to USB-C plug, and the one I have here is for iPhones, iPads and iPods only. And if we take a look at the side here, there's also a micro SD card slot. So here you can place your micro SD card, and then you can pull out the USB-C plug and connect this to something that generates power, like a power bank. Then you place the Go 3 or the Go 3S on the quick reader itself and power it on by long pressing on the button on the Go 3. And when you see the green light, you can then turn on the action pod and you'll get a message asking if you want to transfer the files from the Go 3S or the Go 3 over to the micro SD card. I mean, how awesome is that? This is something I probably used 4 or 5 times on a week's trip to Cyprus, and it's so convenient. Just drop the file and go again. And when you get back home and you want to edit your videos, you have everything lined up on one of the same SD cards. So you don't have to connect the camera or anything. You can just plug the SD card and go edit your video. And I think this is something that Go 3 users have been waiting for. So now if you want to get the Go 3S and the 4K and all of that, and want to save some extra bucks on the camera itself, you can actually drop down to the 64GB version and then get this. But if you want something that can record throughout the day, I would probably go with the 128GB version, which is the ones that I have here, because these can record for 3 hours in 4K 30. I'm not sure how long the 64GB version can record for, but I reckon probably half an hour or something like that. So with the 64, it means you will dump the files more often, but with the 128GB, it means you can get at least 3 hours of 4K footage, which on and off recording will last, you know, a couple of days, maybe a day if you record a lot. Now, who is this camera actually for? I would say anyone with kids, anyone that loves traveling, or those that prefer to record those special moments you might not be able to capture with other cameras, which requires a bulkier setup and more effort to pull out and mount and stuff like that. And for POV shots, you know, nothing really beats the Go 3 series or the Go series. But instead of just explaining who this camera is for, if I recommend you to buy it and stuff like that, let me show you a short travel sequence I put together from our recent trip to Cyprus with the family, so enjoy. Now, I gotta say though, I'm still impressed over how convenient the action pod is as a monitor. So for some of these shots here, I just gave the action pod to my wife as I was in the pool, so she could tell me if the angle was good or not. And I think these shots turned out pretty amazing. So if you have kids, like to travel and want something small, convenient, and something that's a bit more subtle than a GoPro, for example, this is definitely a good option. Whether you should buy it or not, that's going to be completely up to you. Like I said, this is a showcase video and a sponsored video, not a review. But all in all, I had a lot of fun using the Go 3S. Let me know your thoughts on the Go 3S and the resolution, the quality, everything that you've seen in this video down in the comments below. And if you decide to get one, how will you be using it? So that's a wrap. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.